Hello and welcome to Out and About. My name is Vanessa Victor, and this week on Out and About, we are at Kijiweni Productions offices. We're going to be sitting down with Wilson Rumisha, who's the marketing and production manager of Kijiweni Productions, and we're going to talk about the new film that they are actually right now in the works of starting to figure out in terms of making it happen. And as you can see behind me with all these awards, it's going to be an interesting conversation, and of course it's going to tell us a lot more and a little bit of backstory about the films that they have done previously. Stick around, we'll be right back. Hello, and as I said, this week on Out and About, we are talking to Wilson Rumisha. They are part of Kijiweni Productions. They have many films, and they're definitely not a stranger to Out and About. This week, though, we are going to be talking about T Junction. It is a film that I'm going to let Wilson tell you more about, and of course, we want to know how the process is in terms of getting the actors, making sure that they have the right people for the right parts. Welcome, Wilson.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm very good. So first off, I want you to tell me about the film. What is T Junction? What is it about?
Okay, well, basically, T Junction is a story of a girl named Fatima. Basically, two girls, two worlds, two different lifestyles, two different backgrounds. Basically, Fatima's father passes away, but she feels no remorse because he was an alcoholic. He passed away due to alcoholism. And she feels no love for him because he was never really there. He was an absent father. But her mother, who finds strength in family bonding, who believes that family is important to her, finds it that it's her duty as the grieving wife to mourn his death, which is something Fatima finds strange. So basically, she's trying to hold on to whatever she can that he has to somehow find some sort of closure for her. So basically, she tells Fatima, her daughter, to go to the hospital to get his birth certificate, which is also confusing to Fatima because the man left nothing of actual value to them, but her mom wants her to go get this birth certificate. So anyway, she goes to the hospital, and she ends up meeting a girl there named Maria. Now, Maria is a quirky, full of life, lovely girl whom is able to capture the attention of people just because of her personality. So now this captures Fatima's attention, and she wonders why this girl is in hospital. And then basically Maria decides to tell her the story as to what happened to her, which basically brings us to the story, the title itself, called T Junction. Now, Maria's story tells the lives of people who live in the T Junction, who survive through there, who make their money through there, and basically all the things that they go through. And through this whole process, Fatima learns that her and this girl of a different world have a lot in common. I can't fully divulge what exactly, but she's able to learn that her and Fatima are not different. They actually go through pretty much struggles, but it's different in the context of which their backgrounds. So basically, through it all, Fatima is able to, through the story that Maria tells her of the T Junction, she's able to find out numerous things such as love, rage, solidarity amongst a group of people who stay in one area. And she also learns that through it all, that just because you're both from two different worlds does not mean that you're not going through the same struggle. Yeah.
So T Junction is actually based around an actual situation. Tell us a bit more about that.
Now, T Junction was actually written by Milshivji, the same director and producer of Samaki, Changani, Aisha, and Shushain. Now, he's been working on this for about a number of years. Originally, it was a short film, but we had the opportunity to make a feature out of it after Aisha, and he put together a full-length feature film for it. And so basically, it basically entails the lives of the people in the T Junction. Basically, he stays near T Junction, so he was able to just observe, learn, and put together a story of the same things that these guys go through, so it can resonate to the general public, specifically those that the average commoner, the average guy you'd see selling food, selling mandazi, selling mangoes, just people who just generally get left out of society because of their background, what they do. So no one really pays attention to them. So this is their story that he's putting across through this film.
Will the film be filmed at the same location, or will you be using a different location?
Well, luckily for us, Emil likes to work with the environment that he works in, and he also likes using specific places. By specificity, I mean that we're going to be using the very same T-junction. So we're going to be showing them their stories, but we also asked them to get involved in the film, the same people, because it's their stories that we're telling. So hopefully they'll jump on board and join us in the film.
So what was the process like in terms of getting the permits to be able to shoot at the same location? What is that process like?
Okay, now basically there's procedures. Basically you have to go to Film Board corporate, you got to give them necessary documentation, you got to make the payment, you have to give them the synopsis of the film, and also fill in a number of forms and make sure that it falls in line with what is allowed. And after a month's time, depending if you were to fast track it, which takes a week, you'd get the film permit. Now the process of selecting actors, we have a rigorous process that involves call-outs, whereby we advertise the fact that we're going to have auditions. We send it to universities, we send it to theater schools, we send it to anybody who's interested in being a part of a film, and also anybody who has the belief that they might be able to have some acting abilities in them. Basically anybody who wants to just try their luck, we open the grounds to anybody.
So basically it's an open call.
Yes. And then once we have the auditions, they come. We audition for a week, which we did at Nafasi Art Space, and we take down informations, pictures, headshots, and we have a system that we put all this information into, so that we can go back to, once we're done with the auditions, and discuss and see who best fits the part. And after that is done, we have what is known as callbacks. So now those who are able to get through the first stage of the screening would come back for the callback, which we actually did this week. And we kind of just have them have like some, not a face-off per se, but we give them the opportunity to just give them more lines so that they can feel more in touch with the character and see how they perform. And then from there, we select who we like from that, and then we that would be our main cast. Right now, we've already selected our cast. We're happy. And we start shooting on the 20th of February. We will finish mid-March, and we are hoping and praying by the grace of the big guy upstairs that we'll have this out and about for the general public in theaters on June, July, somewhere there.
That's really good. You guys, this is not your first rodeo. You have Samakim Changani, you have Aisha, you have Shushain. So what experience that you've gained from doing these previous films will you be taking into producing T-Junction?
Basically, okay, Aisha was our first feature, long-length film. Shushain and Samakim Changani were both shorts. So that way, so they were both short. So Aisha was actually the main basis of the experience that we could really get, because first of all, it was shot in Pagani, Tanga. It was our first feature in collaboration with an NGO called Uzikwasa. So from that, we learned a lot of things, like how to handle large crowds, how to deal with properly economically dealing with money, problem solving, issues on set, issues with permits, issues with getting what is allowed for you to, for example, you cannot wear certain costumes without getting official approval from certain bodies. So we learned through those many things that we learned through in making Aisha. We've actually going to use them for the same film, T-Junction.
And of course, I'm sure our viewers would like you to remind them a little bit about these films, because behind us, all these amazing awards that your work has garnered. So give them a little bit of a preview or just a flashback of some of these amazing films.
Okay, well, Shushain, short film, 24 minutes, was our first Kijiweni Productions film. It won Best East African Film, Best Viewer's Choice, Best Short East African Film, from Zanzibar to Burundi to, it even got an Africa Magic nomination for Best Director and Best Short Film. I mean, we did not win, but the acknowledgement was more than what we needed. And we were even up against films such as Norby Half-Life during that year. Yeah, so we're quite proud of ourselves for that one. Samaki Mchangani also was our second short film. That one there we won best short film, best director, best actor. Numerous countries: Zimbabwe, again Zanzibar, best sound. Also Arusha and Rwanda, if I'm correct. And then comes Aisha, which was our first feature. Now, Aisha, as I said, was done in collaboration with another partner. Now, there we won Best Narrative Feature in the States. We won Best Actress, Best Film, Best Editor, Best Director. Yeah, so we're on a roll. And actually, from Zimbabwe, we won what is known as the Best Audience Award, the award that resonates the most to the audience. And Aisha was the one that did that. So far, we're on the right track. It's still doing the the film circuits. And there's still more awards to come, I believe. It's just the beginning. There's more coming, and there's even more coming after T-Junction.
I totally believe that because I've been there and I've been watching and seeing as you guys make all these amazing strides in the industry, and especially making changes in terms of how films are viewed, how they're made, because you're bringing in a whole different aspect of how Tanzanian films are supposed to be. It should be, rather than what's the usual, which we're not going to discuss because that's a whole nother story. But I also want to talk about the dynamics of working together within Kijiweni Productions, because I'm sure the number of people that you had initially, like with Shoeshine, till now the film you're working on, it must have been a growth in terms of you have to have more people because you're doing more things.
Definitely. Kijiweni Productions started off with just Emil, and Emil and I actually met through a mutual friend of ours called Cici Malay. So she is actually the reason, if you want to say how Emil and I had this bromance thing going on. So he asked me to get involved, and I did, and then next thing I know, I'm busy making movies.
And appearing in most of them, if not all of them. I know you have cameos in them.
Yeah, it's kind of like a ritual. If I ever work on any, if it's a documentary, if it's a short film, if it's a feature, I always have to have cameos. I make sure it's there in the contract somewhere. I have a little cameo moment. But yeah, I enjoy doing that. But basically, in reference to your question, yes, we are growing. Right now, Kijiweni Production consists of 4 people: myself, Emil, Cici Malay, and Jonas Njau. We all have our parts to play in the company. It's a small company, but we've done relatively well for a small company, just, ourselves. So when it comes to films, what we do is we work with people. We kind of outsource because we don't have that many people working with us, and we don't necessarily have funding to pay basic salaries every month. So what we do is we work on a project basis. So when it comes to films or projects, we outsource. We know people we've worked with and trust with and like their work ethics and how they work. So we get them on board on projects, so we all work together, just like what we've done for all our films, all the way down to Samaki Mchangani, all the way to Aisha. And we work together as a team. During that whole process, we become a little family for the length of the period. But, once the film is over, everyone goes back to their normal lives. But, once in a while, we'll link up, catch up, see how things are going, and, always remember each other when it comes to other projects that come about.
You'd mentioned that T-Junction will be filmed at the same place where the story sort of originated from. And thinking back, there's one of the films, I think it was Aisha, that was filmed, even Samaki Mchangani, directly where the source was, in terms of you involved the people who were part of they were part of the story, and the location was at the exact same place.
Very true. Aisha was shot in Pangani, Tanga, in the Kijiweni areas. Basically, for example, Pangani is a Kijiweni on itself, a village, but now we went deeper into the villages where these atrocities occur. And we were able to auditions with the local people from Pangani, because the talent, 98% of them were from Pangani, Tanga. And only about 1 or 2 were from Dar es Salaam. But we always want to get people involved in what we're doing. Specifically, if we're telling a story about a specific place, we want people from those areas to get involved, because it's their story, and we are here to tell their stories. And the niche about Kijiweni Productions, as opposed to other companies, is that 1, our work is professionally done. 2, we believe in following scripts. We believe in working professionally. Three, and most importantly, we don't just believe in making a film. We believe in making a film that has a message. So we always try to address social issues that are faced in the country, social injustices that occur, so that at the end of the day, when you go home, you learn something from the film. Even if you did not know it was happening, the film will alert you. It will subconsciously wake you up and alert you that this and this is going on, even if you're not able to acknowledge it yourself.
Has the government been receptive to some of your films in terms of the things that they address? Because some of them are a bit controversial. How has the government responded to this?
Well, I can say that the government is doing its part to basically assist us wherever possible to aid them through our messages in dealing with the issues that we put across. For example, Aisha itself, which obviously was about gang rapes that happened in the area. Now, Uzikwasa is the NGO that came to us with the idea and asked us to produce this. So we went to Pangani Tanga, we sat down with the locals, we understood their lifestyle. For about 2 weeks worth of research. The script was written by Hamadi Mopachu, and through Aisha, they were able to create awareness of what was happening in specific areas in Pangani Tanga. And I was told by Uzikwasa themselves that there's actually been a reduction in these cases because people are more aware about them and people are coming out to not just victims, but people are coming out to mention perpetrators. So, and that's how these films are able to put the message across. It's the best way to put a message across through the medium of film, as we believe. And I believe that within time, we'll have even more help from the government. But everything is a process, so we're just, taking it stride by stride.
That's very true. And of course, I think one of the big questions I'm sure the audience wants to know is, how do you make these films? Making films it costs money. It costs a lot of money. They have to pay actors. You have to make sure you have the equipment and on points and whatnot. How do you guys fund your projects? I'm
glad you've asked that. Now, all our films, all of them have been funded by grants. Shushan was funded by a grant from Canal de France. Samaki Mchangani was funded by a competition whereby a mill was selected amongst 5 other African filmmakers and given a grant to make this film. And we were able to get on board other funders such as Rosa Luxemburg, Rapoa to assist us. Aisha was done by Uzikwasa. They were able to get funders from the Schindler Foundation and also the Swiss Corporation. So we personally do not have our own funding to fund our films because it takes a lot of, because roughly, it's like the films that are currently being made right now can be in your typical bongo film would be made for a price of about 5 million. Now, our short films, we're looking at price of around $10,000, $30,000. That's over short films, mind you. So feature films, we go hard and we try our best to get as much as possible. So we can at least make sure everyone who jumps on the film is getting paid something substantial, something they can live off with for some time, and make sure everyone's happy, make sure everyone gets paid well, and also that the production is also done well. Because again, if you're gonna get paid well, we also want to, make sure we produce something worth the amount that we're gonna be dishing out. So that's how we deal with funding. But if Capital TV would like to fund us sometime, we'd totally appreciate it. It's more than welcome.
Well, with the economic situation, let's wait a while. Let's wait a while. But I also want to ask, how much did Aisha cost in terms of the whole production process, paying equipment, everything? How much average would you say that cost?
We roughly had a budget of around $150 to produce Aisha. So that's to be honest, I don't believe in Tanzania. I could be wrong, but I don't believe in Tanzania there's been a film that's produced for that amount. Again, we're talking 5 million, 10 million, maybe 30 for a feature film, but not for that amount. So that's how much budget we had, and it was disseminated throughout the whole production. We're talking crew, cast, equipment, locations, film permits, transportation, meals. So you can imagine it was really crazy. But we managed to get through, we managed to get the job done, we managed to do it right, and we are quite happy and content with ourselves, and we're going to do the same for T-Junction.
Okay, my last question is obviously going to be, what should our viewers expect from T Junction? Because right now it is a work in progress. What should they expect the final, when you're done? What should they expect to get out of it?
Well,
because I'm going to hold you to this.
Okay. I love being held to things. Well, I can say this much before I answer that question. The reason why I find T Junction so much more special than the rest is in terms of feature films. Aisha was great, but like T Junction, there's no collaborators here. It's going to be a Kijiweni Productions film, all the way. So we are gonna go really, really hard and intense with everything. We're talking like shots. We're talking like capturing the cinematography, beautiful shots, beautiful stories, beautiful scenes. Like we really want people to feel like they're engulfed in the film. We want them to feel the pain that happens in the film. We want them to be able to relate to everybody in the film by saying, okay, I know someone like that in my area. Maybe he's going through the same thing. Maybe I could, be more sympathetic towards this individual instead of just ignoring them by it. So what we want at the end is for basically them to watch the film, understand it, understand the message. If they feel that they need to address it, but just try to basically be one with it, and also most importantly, remember that it's representing their country, and these are things that happen in their country, and they should not just let it go idly by and ignore it. Acknowledge what's happening, and if they feel they want to do something about it, they can do something about it.
Yeah, and not only their country, it could just be one street over, or in your neighborhood, or in your city, because it happens everywhere, not just in Tanzania, everywhere. And that's the beauty of human stories. They interlink in the sense of, you might find a situation and you think it's so unique to Dar es Salaam or to Tanzania, and then you go somewhere else and then you're like, oh wow, it happens here too. So you guys are giving a voice not just to Tanzanian situations, but you might find yourself giving a voice to other African countries where similar things are happening.
Exactly, specifically in East Africa, because I'm pretty sure what we're going through here is going around in East Africa also. So we're hoping that once we're out and about screening our films, that it will resonate well, specific in the East Africa regions. Obviously, it's a film for Tanzania, for Tanzanians, but we want the whole world to watch it.
Thank you very much, Wilson. It's been very enlightening and a pleasure as always.
Pangani,
nataka niende nikasalimie.
Nina habari njema. Nimeposwa.
Dadangu kaja.
We, Aisha kaja. Kwani wewe hujui kwamba mimi na dadako ni waenzi na enzi?
Huwa anakuulizia sana. Mimi nadhani bado anakutaka.
Nimeshindwa kabisa kukusahau.
Lakini mimi ni mke wa mtu. Na mimi nimesonga mbele na maisha yangu.
Kanitolea nje. Anatembea hapa kijijini anajitapa. Anatuona sisi si kitu. Umefanya nilichowatuma.
Kaka, si useme.
Nenda mwana kwenda. Mimi ndio kichwa cha familia. Ninachosema ndio kinalokuwa.
Kweli ilikuwa makusudi? Na alikuwa anaenda wapi muda ule? Hivi ni kweli ya kuniona?
Unaongelea nini Godfrey?
Utanisaidiaje?
Labda ukiongea na mheshimiwa Kitinga.
Hapana. Hatunielewa.
Unakunywa maziwa kabla ya kulala?
Nini?
Maziwa sababisha mtoto wangu kuota ndoto mbaya.
Mimi ni mtoto wako sio? Mimi ni mtoto wako wewe? Hivi kweli wewe uko timamu kweli? Hilo ni suluhisho kwako? Kunywa maziwa. Dereva, kumbuka mimi ni mtu mwenye hadhi yangu. Damu ya Kitinga mimi. Hivi kuna fikiri watu watanifikiriaje mimi? wakisikia kuwa mtoto wa mheshimiwa mbunge Kitinga anaota ndoto za watu wafu. Magazeti ya udaku wakisikia watanimaliza. Una simu? Sim chipu umesajili kampuni gani?
Pamoja Communication.
Pamoja Communication. Na je, umeridhika?
Ndio.
Ndio.
Kampuni inahitaji taswira nzuri na sio mkurugenzi mwenda wazimu.
Mimi nilinunua kile kiwanja kwa pesa zangu. Nalipadisha ile fensi kwa pesa zangu. Hasa mtu kama wewe umekaa tu kama bubu na hauna msaada wote, basi ni bora uondoke. Ondoka.
Ndoto zako zinasika na mtu maalum?
Nini?
Ulisema kuna watu wafu.
Nini? Kama sikusema.
Nani amekwambia?
Unaongelea nini?
Umemwambia nani?
Unaongelea nini Lucy?
Mtu hasijue.
We've been sitting down with Wilson Rumisha. He's the marketing and production manager of Kijiweni Productions. He was telling us about the new film, T Junction, that is now in the works. It's not ready out, but it should be coming to you soon if all goes well. And of course, he caught us up with their previous films, Shoeshine, Aisha, and Samaki Mchangani. My name is Vanessa Victor, and we've reached the end of Out and About for this week. Until next week, you know what to do. Give us your comments, views, and suggestions on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter links. And that's it, and I am signing out.
Watch Capital Television on Zuku Decoder, Channel 51. Capital Television, your channel of choice.